Hi everybody, this is AJ from Horizon Driving School with Darlington test route number 7. Now don't forget, these are my test route numbers, not the actual test centres. So as always, we're going to be setting off from Darlington Test Centre, and again, I don't want you to try and learn these routes. I want you to become familiar with the areas and to see all those funny little bits which Darlington loves. Okay then, so we're going to be setting off today, and we've got Jess driving today. Jess is almost test ready again. However, there are still a couple of faults which happen. We'll point those out as we go along. Enjoy the video. Any comments, leave them down below. I know a few of you have requested that we do a few more. Well, here we go. Setting off with number 7. So we can see they're just a little bit wide there coming out of the gate. Now, don't forget, yeah, you want to be trying to get through the gate. It happens. People get a little bit nervous. As soon as we mention the word mock test, which is what Jess is on right now, everybody goes to jelly. Now, honestly, there's no need to go to jelly when the word test is mentioned. All you're doing is driving. You're not doing anything different that you haven't been doing with your instructor. You're just driving. You're proving to that person in the passenger seat that you can drive independently. You've got to try and keep your nerves under control. It's human nature to be nervous. However, once you get driving, 5 or 10 minutes into it, you're going to be thinking, I'm just driving. Why am I nervous? And they'll just melt away and you'll have an amazing drive. So just remember all that training that your instructor's giving you. Do some breathing exercise if you need to. Eat a banana beforehand. Great fuel for the brain. Also get a great night's sleep. And don't do any caffeine beforehand. Caffeine's not the best thing to do. Okay then, after that little pep talk then, we're going to be heading right out of the test centre. And again, this is a busy junction, especially during the week. This is a Saturday morning, so a little bit easier for us. However, use those traffic lights to your advantage, exactly like Jess has just done. As we come round, we see that the lights are literally just turned to green and the opposite traffic has only just started to move. Again, when your opportunity is there, take it. Right then, so our favourite roundabout, Morton Park roundabout and Yarm Road roundabout. Remember, if you're going in any direction other than Teesside, you need the right-hand lane on the first roundabout. This will bring you off in the right-hand lane for your next turn at the Yarm Road roundabout. Now, as you can see, Jess has got herself into the right-hand lane behind the white car. So she's going to come off right-hand lane, we hope. Now, even though we've got 2 vehicles in front of us, we're still watching the traffic that's coming round the roundabout and making a decision. Now, did you notice the Audi there with the indicator still on? Gave us all the impression that it was coming round. This is why it's important to change those indicators when you're coming off your roundabout. Now, see, we're coming round. Now, Jess, a little bit undecided. She's headed for that left-hand lane until I've corrected her. And then she's moved into the right-hand lane. And then as we're going down towards Scotch Corner, we've taken the right-hand lane to turn right at the roundabout. Now, again, we're still looking into the roundabout, even though we've got 2 vehicles in front of us. We're sort of trying to anticipate when they are going to go and when we can go. Now, you see the white cars followed the learner out straight away. There isn't a safe gap for us at this moment in time. Now, I think it's at this point Jess says to me, I could have gone then. I could have gone then. Well, with a little bit of encouragement, Jess is going to go any second. Here we go. See the big gap there. It's another busy roundabout. When that gap's there and it's safe, you've got to go nice and positive. And again, we're going all the way around and then coming off at this exit. So we've checked centre mirror and left door mirror, indicated our intention, and now we're accelerating away because we're on a 60-mile-an-hour road, checking those mirrors centre and right. So this is where you can relax on this route, get yourself up to speed, keep with the flow of traffic, and just enjoy the drive. Let those nerves melt away. Enjoy the drive, enjoy the sunshine. If it's sunny, that is. If not, enjoy the rain. We all know the rain comes. So now what you can't actually see on this one, because I don't have the rear cam for the webcam on here, and that is we've got an Audi behind us, and he is practically sitting in our boot. So what we've done, we've actually backed off a little bit to slow it down, just to give him an idea that, hey, we're not happy that you sat there, and two, it gives us such a bigger safety zone in front of us if anything was to happen. So now we're looking into the distance, and we see that signage is starting to appear. We've got our 300 where we should be checking mirrors, 200 where we should indicate it if we need to indicate, which we do because we're taking that first exit. And the 100, checking those mirrors again and bringing that speed down to an appropriate speed. Again, as we approach the roundabout, we're looking into the roundabout. And we're taking first exit. And we're heading towards Herworth, and it's an immediate right. So try not to accelerate away too hard, because you need to be slowing it right the way down for this right turn. Again, the marks on the road are quite faded. Again, we're trying not to cut that corner. We're keeping out inside our lane. Now, I always get asked this question. Is this really a 60 mile an hour road? Well, yes, it is. It's a country road. Now, my theory is the councils, etc., the people who do the roads and the signage, they don't want to put lots of signage up saying slow down 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. They're hoping that you're going to use common sense. Now, again, even though it's a 60 mile an hour road, it's not a target, it's a limit. Drive to how the road is. Again, when you've got bends, you're not going around at 60, you're reducing your speed right down. We do have road markings on the road, such as slow. Listen to them, look at them. Understand why they're there, they're not just random. Again, we have a slow coming up here, as we've got a bend coming up in the distance. And if you're doing 60 miles an hour, you need to be slowing it right the way down. Also, we've just passed a sign there for horses, so we're keeping an eye out for those also. Again, these signs are not put up for fun, they're there to give you information and to help you out. Now you might see there that Jess moved across a little bit to get away from the cars on the opposite side. Again, we don't need to be doing this. Our lane is wide enough for our vehicle. Have a look at the vehicle coming towards you. As long as it is on their side of the white line and you're on your white side of the white line, there's not an issue. We don't need them to move across, especially these days, as you can see the condition of the edge of the road. There's potholes, there's the grass verge. You drop into a soaking wet grass verge and it's more than likely going to pull you into the hedge. So try and stay out of those. Okay, speed change then down to 40. We've got traffic calming coming up, and again we've got another speed change down to 30. Make sure you're doing 30 before you go through. So we've got more traffic calming coming up. This time we have the priority. However, still remember to slow down because we've still got those speed bumps in the road. So we're coming into the town of Herworth now. We've got dogs there. Luckily, they're both on the lead. These are questions you want to be asking yourself. What type of lead are they on? Is it a static one or is it one of those extendables? Is there a chance the dog's going to run into the road? All hazard perception, right? We've all done. You need to keep an eye on. So as we continue moving into the village, we're now picking up signage for a 20 zone. This is because there is a school. Now this is not a if lights are flashing option. It is 20 no matter what. Now then, we've got a junction coming up at the end of the road. This is quite a tight junction. Certainly turning into it to come down the way we've just come. And you could do that on your test. Okay, there is quite a tight junction, as I've mentioned. It's closed. We need to be creeping forward so that we can see past all the parked cars and the buildings. So you can see Jess is creeping forward so she can get herself a good view. She's now made the decision and off she goes. Checking her centre mirror and left door mirror to see what's going on behind. Now, I can only think of one real reason that you come down this way, and that is to meet traffic. As we get further down the road towards Rockcliffe Hall, there's lots and lots of parked vehicles, and you have no option but to be on the opposite side of the road. Again, don't try and squeeze through if there's another car coming in the opposite direction. Look well ahead and make a decision. So we're coming into Herworth Place. Now, Herworth Place is quite a quiet place. Not a lot of traffic. So getting past these parked cars won't be too much of an issue. So we can see the parked vehicles coming up on our left-hand side. And we're looking well ahead to see if anything's coming from onwards. Checking centre mirror and right door mirror. It's safe for us to move out. Now, all the time, I'm looking at the parked vehicles, looking for gaps to drop into. Now, we've got oncoming traffic, and we're going to drop into this bus stop. Now, some people don't think you're allowed into a bus stop, which is very true if you're going to stop there. However, there's no issue whatsoever driving through a bus stop. I've actually had people go around the bus stop markings. That's not a problem. Just go straight through. Now, you see, we let two cars come past quite easily. We've got a cyclist now, obviously taking care that they're okay. And you can see the parked cars are now coming to an end, and we've made it through there, no problem. Again, Jess has looked well ahead. She's noticed the car coming. She's also noticed the gap, and she's just quite happily gone into that gap to allow those cars to pass. And we're able to continue on our way. Now, as you come round this bend, we're going to be turning right at the junction. Now, I understand that you don't know the areas, and a little bit like Jess, she's hesitated, although you may not see it very much here, but she has hesitated before the junction, thinking the junction was literally round the corner. You need to drive to what you can see. Don't rely on your instructor or the examiner to tell you where everything is. So just to point out also that Jess is following the sat-nav on this route. She's doing independent drive. Now, the instruction came from the sat-nav quite early, and Jess reacted to it. Have a quick look at the sat-nav and see how far ahead the junction is. So you can see as we're coming out of the village now, we've got a speed change. However, we've got a sharp bend. Do you want to be racing up to 60 miles an hour? I don't think so. You'll scare the life out of the examiner. You scare the life out of the examiner, and guess what he's going or she's going to do? They're going to put a big fat F on your test. Okay then, so now we can pick our speed up. The road is opening up. We've got nice long sweeping bends. Quite happily do 50 miles an hour along here, no problem. And as it's more of a main road, you can see the condition of it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better looked after. However, do keep an eye out for those potholes. They are an absolute nightmare. So we should point out there that not only are you looking out for traffic, etc., the road users, you're also looking out for your potholes and anything else that could cause damage to your vehicle. Remember, if you look after your car's going to look after you. Another world famous AJ quote. Again, noticing the warning signs there telling us that there's a junction to the right and road marking saying slow. This is just to make you more aware that it's there. So solid white line telling us a little bit of danger coming up, and that is obviously this bend, so we should be slowing our speed down ever so slightly so that we can get around this bend nice and comfortably. Now then, in the distance we can see the car dealership. And then just past that we've got the roundabout, and you can see the sign coming into view just now. We're going to be taking second exit towards Barnard Castle. So if you remember these little reference points, you can get yourself prepared and ready. So once again, we're coming down to appropriate speed to give us time to look into the junction. And if you can keep that car rolling, it would help you out with a great deal. There would be no hill start here if we kept rolling. Now, I always say try and keep the car rolling if you can. However, we know there's times you can't. It's as simple as that. However, Jess has seen her gap and she's making a nice positive entry into the roundabout. She's checking those mirrors and she's indicating that she's coming off this second exit. Read the road signs. If you're struggling with roundabouts, count the exits round. Read the road signs on the exits. If you make a mistake, go round again. So it's still 60 miles an hour up here. Might be a lie that, I think it's 40. But we do drop down to 30. Now, because we've been on a fast road, you're going to feel like you're crawling. Keep an eye on your speed. So we're going to be taking the next road on the right, and that is just after these bollards. I stand corrected, it's just before the bollards. So as you can see, Jess is starting to creep forward as she can see her gap approaching. It's so much easier to turn into a junction while the car is moving than trying to do it from a standing start. Again, checking mirrors, centre and right, and then accelerating away. Again, another quite tight road. Obviously looking as far ahead as possible through car windows, along the side of the path, as much as you can to see into the distance. Again, going slightly wider on the turn to give you a better view. And at the end of this road, we will be turning right and going up the hill. This is where I'll get Jess to pull over and do a hill start. Now remember, throughout your test, you will get pulled over several times. This could include a hill start, an angle start, and also to check that you're moving away safely. Remember those blind spot checks, especially that right shoulder. So you can see we're pulling Jess over. Oh, she's rolled back ever so slightly there. So it's at this point I'm giving Jess a little bit of instruction, because it's a while since we've done a hill start. Just reminding her she's asked and telling her to find her biting point, set her gas, and then to keep those feet still until the handbrake is off. Once the handbrake's off, it is then just moving away as per normal. A big mistake people make is, as they're trying to take the handbrake off, they're bringing that clutch pedal up. As you can see there, an absolutely perfect hill start from Jess. So yeah, so make sure if you keep your feet still once you've got the biting point, handbrake off, then move your feet and move off as normal. So at the end of the road, we're going to be turning left. And then it's just along here that we're going to do a parallel park. Now Jess has started quite wide from the car. You see Jess is doing the observations. She's a hesitator, well, pause ever so slightly for the oncoming vehicle, which we just saw there. And that has obviously stopped to let us continue. However, my question to you now is, should Jess have stopped at this point or continued as normal? My answer there is 2. Yes, she should have stopped, because that is what we want to happen when we're on test. However, my honest opinion, we knew where the car was, we knew what the car was doing, and it was so safe for them to go past. But there we go, an absolutely perfect parallel park. Even though she started a little wide, she corrected herself and did absolutely brilliant. So comments below, should she have stopped for that car once it started to move again? So as we're heading down to the bank, we're going to be turning left at the end of the road. I'm going to be heading back in towards Darlington town centre, where we can have a little bit of fun with 2 roundabouts at least. Again, this is another junction which is pretty much closed. You need to be creeping forward. There is always parked vehicles on the right hand side of this junction. So again, you need to creep forward nice and steady, ensure that it is safe to go, and then accelerating away, checking that centre mirror and right door mirror. So we are now approaching a roundabout where we're going to be taking the 3rd exit heading towards the town centre. We obviously want the right-hand lane to go around. Very faint road marking there. Again, looking into the junction as we approach, making that decision and moving straight off, keeping in that right-hand lane. However, I suggest that you keep up against this line on the left, as we have a lane which appears as we go around. We'd like to go into that lane. As we're watching, As we come to the junction, you can see the lane just starting there. If we head straight to that lane, that will bring us off in the left-hand lane on our junction. Don't worry if you don't get into that lane, you can move across afterwards. So the next roundabout, then we're going to be taking the second exit towards Durham A1M. And this time around, we're going to be heading towards Teesside afterwards. So again, looking into the junction, the bus is coming round. The second bus you saw there is going straight ahead and left us a nice safe gap. So we're straight back onto the gas and away. So as we go past the fire station, we're going to come up to the traffic lights. Now I mentioned then we're going straight ahead to Teesside. Now I suggest that you stay in this lane, don't move over to the left. However, do keep your speed up with the flow of traffic. What we don't want is people undertaking us. Now we come to one of our favourite roundabouts. Now we are turning right, however, we stay in the left-hand lane. So as we approach, we still approach in the right-hand lane, as that's what we're being told to do by the signage. And now we're split into two different roads. Now normally we would go into the right-hand lane to go off at the right, but we stay left-hand lane, outside lane for this. When you approach the roundabout, it just seems the natural position anyway as you look at it. Now, Jess should have stopped there for that gentleman who was crossing the road. However, she deemed it not safe enough because of vehicles who were right behind her. Remember the new rules. If pedestrians are waiting to cross at a junction, you should stop and let them cross. However, there are some occasions when it is not safe to do so. So as we come over the bridge, then we can see the traffic lights ahead of us. Just beyond the traffic lights, we have the roundabout. We're taking the third exit, so we're turning right. Now, as you pass the traffic lights, a lane appears for you to use. Go straight into the lane. This way, you avoid anybody coming up on the outside of you who's in more of a rush and blocking you from getting into the lane safely. As you see by the road signs and the road markings, we require the right-hand lane to turn right. Again, looking into the junction as we enter. Safe gap, indicating right because that's where we're turning, and then changing indication to left for Teesside. And don't get too carried away on this bit. It's not 40 until you pass the signs. So we're approaching the traffic lights, and we're going to be turning right towards Lingfield Point. And as you can see, we've got our lane moving off to the right. Check those mirrors before you go. It has been known for vehicles to come down those hatch markings to overtake you to get in front. If you do not check your mirrors, you will fail. So as we move off, you can see the bollard over there on the right hand side. We make a nice long sweeping bend. We don't need to go along and do 90 degrees, just a nice long sweeping bend. And also note the speed change again from down 40 to 30. Again, keep an eye on your speed. It is very easy to just go over. If you go over, bring it back down. It's if you don't do anything about it, then you're going to get marked down for it. So you can see in the distance again, we've got the Yarm Road roundabout, just near the retail park. We're going to be taking second exit. And remember, again, this is a very busy roundabout for pedestrians. Look into the junction as you approach to see if any pedestrians are approaching the junction. And again, if it's safe to do so, we should stop. This also counts for coming off the roundabout also. So you can see we've checked in there, we've got a safe gap, we can see there's no pedestrians, change indication to say we're coming off and accelerating away. So this route was done on a Saturday morning. However, during the week you've got a lot of people from Cummings heading over towards the retail park, and therefore pedestrians are quite a lot at that roundabout. Now again, choosing the correct lane as we approach the traffic lights. And as before, when you're going into the test centre, do not be afraid to use those hatch markings to get yourself into that filter box. The last thing we want is your back end sticking out of a filter box, inconveniencing other road users. Remember the 3 S's. We don't want anybody to slow down, we don't want to make anybody swerve, and we certainly don't want to make anybody stop. Any of those 3 will end in a fail. So we're checking our mirrors then, and we're indicating that we're going into the test centre, and we are going to use the hatch markings to get ourselves across there nice and early, so we're in that box and ready to make the right turn. So we can see we've got the red light, so we know that we're going to be able to continue after this white car. Notice how she's keeping the car moving. Again, it's easier to turn into the junction with the car actually moving. And also, remember, you've just been out on 30 mile, 40 mile and 60 mile an hour roads. This is 10. You will feel like you are crawling, but the end is in sight. It's literally 100 yards away. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this route, route number 7. A little bit varied this time, taking onto the country roads, heading over towards Herworth. and down to the back of Darlington. And once again, don't try and learn these routes, just become familiar with the areas which you go around. Now, most of the time when you come back into the test centre, you will just drive forward straight into one of the bays directly in front. If you haven't done a manoeuvre out on the test route, you may come back here and do a reverse or forward bay park. Now, me being me, I'm making Jess do a forward bay park, even though she did a parallel park earlier. Practice all the time. Also remember, your test isn't over until handbrake is on and engine is switched off. That's when the test has ended. And as you can see there, Jess done an absolute perfect forward bay park. Okay, again, thanks for watching, everybody. Leave comments down below. I'll try and get as many routes on as I can. Take care.